I'm literally starting over at 27 years old with 3 kids. It just sucks. Like, life is rough. And it sucks that person couldn't change for you after you begged them so many times to change and treat you right. You shouldn't have to beg somebody for that. You shouldn't.
So you saw the lady in this TikTok. She is in a space that is just unenviable, right? I would deem what situation she is in as just alpha wreckage. She was with an alpha. That was the guy she wanted. He had his way with her. He did whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted. She gave that man the best she had and 3 kids. And the dude said, yeah, but I'm not going to marry you. I'm just going to walk away. And to be honest with you, I think that that is the reason why Western dating is just in the toilet. That is the rule of the land. That's the way the game is played now. All the alphas just they have free reign to do what they want to do with whom they want to do it with, and you just have a whole bunch of women out here that are longing for alphas. Okay, and we're gonna get to why I think this is important later in the video, but I want to actually respond to this story that's from Lead Attorney. Shout out to the Lead Attorney. He did a really interesting video yesterday that was a very, it was a unique take on Derrick Jaxn and what's going on with him right now. And I want you to hear this part of the story because what I think is really important is not necessarily the Derrick Jaxn part of it, but the fact that Derrick Jaxn was messing with a 1% intelligence level, 33-year-old, top of the line surgeon, and then this happened.
Of course, what happens? He's not using a condom, of course. Winds up getting her pregnant.
Derrick Jaxn married at
now,
the time.
let me tell you something about this Jamaican girl. She is not stupid. This Jamaican girl knows what time it is. She's like, I'm 33. I haven't even started yet. I can't have a baby. She calls him up. She's like, hey, I'm pregnant.
Okay, so I'll kind of explain the story in kind of a short synopsis, but so she calls the guy up and, you would think that he would say off the rip, you know what? I'm married. We can't do this. Do what you have to do to get it taken care of. But that's not what he did. What he did was a mind bleep. He said, don't do it because I'm not ready for it. So, I want you to take some time while I'm thinking about it. And so for a week after she's busy, as he says in the story, she made all kinds of provisions to make sure she could take care of the child. And then he tells her, don't do it yet. And so for almost a week, she's thinking like, wow, I might actually have a future with this guy. And then a week later, he calls and says, okay, get it taken care of. And so that kind of royal mind bleep is just what happens to her now. That is what I'm talking about, alpha wreckage. What happens to that young lady now? Smart as a whip, 33-year-old surgeon. Maybe it's her first time, I don't know. But to have a chance to be with a guy who's 6'5", great looking, all the girls want him, and he says probably some of the things. If he lied to her the way he lies in his videos, he says something like, I'll make some time for you, or we could find a way to make it work, or whatever. And she starts believing the stuff. And then at the end, you know what? No, you know what? Get it taken care of. Think of what kind of mind bleep that is. That is what the first lady in the TikTok was going through. That guy probably told her some things like, we're going to always be together and I'll take care of you and all that stuff. And then at the end, nah, changed my mind. I'm gone. What I call this is alpha wreckage. Most young ladies dream of their wedding day. Let's be honest. You can't say all, but I would say at least a majority. They dream of the day where they're going to have all of their friends looking at them, and they're going to dress up and be the center of attention with the guy that they love. And for a time, that's the way we used to do things, you know, when, you know, your father could pull out a shotgun and say, if you don't marry my daughter, you know, I'm going to, you know, make sure you pay for it. But now we're in an age of liberation where 33-year-old top-of-the-line surgeons get to, you know, have sex with Derrick Jaxn and have children deleted. And then instead of building a family with another guy who's a doctor and they're raising another generation of surgeons, she's a single 35-year-old woman who's making a lot of money but has a hole in her heart the shape of Derrick Jaxn, who is, I don't know, he is the heartthrob of the black community, and he's having relationship with whoever he wants to. Fine. But in that kind of environment, you just get loads and loads of women not getting marriages, but actually ended up like this, right? Women that have a hole in the shape of that alpha guy that they forsook the wedding, all of the marriage stuff for. And so at the end of it, they're not even looking for a substitute. They're looking for, I mean, I don't know. I can't be honest. I can't even tell you what they're looking for besides hoping that that guy comes back, because most of the TikToks that you see suggest that, right? And so when women are giving up marriage, what they're basically saying is, it is more important to me to have my shot at an alpha than to build a family. And so in living in a society where this is the norm, right? The alpha wreckage. This is the norm. Is more and more of it, more single motherhood, more waiting later, which means basically the chances of you being her alpha in the West are not good if you're a regular workaday, regular dude, right? So what should a guy do that's thinking about this from the passport brother perspective? So the first thing passport bros need to do is you got to be able to identify someone who's gone through some kind of relationship where, you know, they had an alpha in the past, and, you know, they kind of imprinted something on this young lady, right? And so, of course, probably one of the biggest identifiers is just having a kid. I mean, the idea that you have, not only you have unprotected relations, and then after you do that, you don't get the morning after pill, and then you carry the child to term, and you know, all of that stuff. You do that all the way through prenatal care, everything, and then you have the child. That means that there's some kind of relationship that woman has with that man. There are so many stopgaps in between. I mean, unless they're super religious or something, but in 2022, 23, that's not happening now. If someone's carrying a child to term, that more likely than not means that person has a really strong connection to some man, right? And so between having a child or just being really emotional like that, be able to identify that. And I would just say it might be best for you to just avoid it. Avoid it, because at the end of the relationship, you want to give the relationship as much possibility to succeed as possible. And so if there's people in the past that are, you know, that might hinder that, you might have to let that go, player. So the second thing that I think as passport brothers should be aware of is just, you need some RP with you. You're going to need it. Okay. So I'm going to tag the lead attorney's video, or I'm going to put the link in the description, but he talks about being ruthless. And he says that's something you can learn from Derrick Jaxn. And I would say, and certainly be relentless and ruthless in your pursuits of success and all that. Okay, I get that. But in terms of dating, I would advise this. Some of that Derrick Jaxn stuff, especially if a man has a daughter who's a surgeon, and you do some of that lying stuff overseas, you might get something very unpleasant might happen to you if he has brothers or a father. So I would not suggest doing any of that craziness overseas. Okay, don't do that. What I would suggest is at the other end, don't be a nice guy, get to be a walk all over, but, you know, have some stern boundaries and have some conditions under which you will walk away. Which brings me to the main point. Be her alpha. You might not have to be 6 foot tall and you know, dunk a basketball and bench press 500 pounds. America, we got, you know, we know the history of America. We got athletic freaks walking around America. The average height of American, you know, sports players is over 6 foot. So, I mean, it's on steroids in America, right? So it's very difficult for the average guy to be an alpha in America because just the genetics. But you can do that with the right mindset if you take that with you. If you are her alpha, then you're going to put yourself in a good position to have a successful relationship. And you have to have a certain mindset to do that, right? Don't be the 1990s love R&B hip hop thing. That'll work in the beginning, but you know, you be the decent guy, be a stand-up guy, but you know, be the guy that, you know, hey, I know I got something going on here and you can come along for the ride, but you know, these are my boundaries here and you violate my boundaries, you know, you're going to find yourself by yourself, but I'll treat you right if you're the right woman for me, right? Be stern about that and be her alpha, the best guy that she's ever had a chance to date. You're going to find yourself in good position. So with that, guys, I want to say, don't go overseas being Derrick Jaxn. Don't do that because you'll find yourself in a wooden box in the forest. Don't do something stupid like that. But be her alpha. Be the guy that she's never had a chance to date. The guy that she'll remember forever, the guy that she can't live without. And you could do that by just being exciting, being different, being smart, whatever it is. And if you could do that with one woman, I'll say that you've won more than Derrick Jaxn has, because Derrick Jaxn is going to be hopping from woman to woman. He'll never be able to trust a woman because he can't trust himself. But anyways, that's Derrick Jaxn. Take this to heed, be her alpha, and you'll turn out just fine. That's all for today. I'll catch you guys in the next video.